so started my next project, which is primarily putting in the new Spartan locker and the Dana 30 on the front. Of course, in order to do that, you got to remove the axles. So you got to remove the wheels, remove the brakes, remove the hub and the axle. And since I was in there and taking a look at it, realized that the U-joints in the axle, I don't know if they were original or not, but they were definitely very old. So on both sides I've removed the axles and the U-joints, and figure I'll get those U-joints put back together and then get started on actually pulling the diff apart and getting the locker installed. Well, here's the Spartan locker. That's the box it comes in. Nice little box. It all comes kind of shrink wrapped on these two cards here. Has a decent little instruction manual that comes with it. This is the unit all basically assembled, ready to go into the Jeep, into the axle. Obviously it's got to go in a couple of pieces, but here's the gist of it. Pretty straightforward to put together, I think. With my Jeep, I have 410 gearing, so I have to remove the carrier. So that has proven to be a little challenging, but we'll get that done, and then we'll be able to slip this in. Got it all put together now. So I probably should have tried to get this to run while I worked on it, but not too difficult. Push the pin out, pin was nice and tight. So finally got that out, pushed through, and one of the little tricks is that to push out the pin, this little retaining pin here on the side that holds in the cross pin, there's a hole on the underside. So you just get a little Phillips screwdriver that's the right size, set it in there and push that right out. And then I tap that out. Then the spider gears fall right out. Definitely had to bend over the little pins that you stick in the sides little holes to hold the spring pins in for the locker. And then not too bad after that. Takes a few, you know, shoving your fingers in there, you're going to get them a little greasy, and hold it all together and then push the pin through. So it came with a cross pin and everything's together, so now I can put it back in. So now I've got it installed. I could do it with the steering linkage in the way. You kind of have to shimmy that thing around and twist it around the carrier group to get it in there, but you can get it in there. And then I just tapped it in a little bit with a rubber mallet to kind of get it set in there, and then you just use the chases on both sides to tighten it all down. Now you slip the two axles into both sides, they're both in there. So now I'm ready to close this thing all up. Got the cover on, got it all filled up with 7590 rear oil. She's all sealed up. Originally I was going to do a new heavy Terraflex armored cover, but unfortunately the drain plug on that thing was cross-threaded, was mis-threaded, so yeah, if you can't put the drain plug in, you can't use it. So I had to go back to the original, so I had to sand it down. It was all rusty and beat up. Clean it all up, painted it, so it looks good. Matches actually the rear now. So this project is all done. I'm going to drop it off the stands. All my wheels are on. Everything's ready to go, and I'll take it out for a little test spin. All right, so now we're going to look at the tests so as you can see how the locker works in the front axle. So right now the Jeep's turned off, and it's in two-wheel drive, and it's up on jack stands so we can see the wheels move. So right now you can move both wheels, move no problem. Both move. You can hear the latching of the locker, but the nice thing is that because it has a split front axle and the car's not on and it's not in four-wheel drive, both wheels will spin independently of each other. It's like the locker's not even there. So to conclude, I really like having the automatic lunchbox locker. You don't have to shut it on and turn it off. It's there when I need it. It's not doing anything when I don't need it. And with the split axle, I can drive normal every day and never know it exists. So I think it's a real win. It's an inexpensive way to really upgrade your capabilities in the Jeep.